Thank you for being a part of this Tai Chi class. My name is Lester, and today in this video, we are going to talk about the basics of our practice. The video will be divided into different sections that will be indicated in the different timestamps down below. This can be found in the description sections of this video. We will talk about diaphragmatic breathing, the opening exercises, and lastly, our first form, moving the ball. To help you with the movements, you can slow down the playback of the video by clicking the gear button down below. So let's continue. Diaphragmatic breathing will be the main focus of our practice. Each and every movement and sequence will incorporate this style of breathing. If you are familiar with this practice, please feel free to move ahead. So now we're going to talk about diaphragmatic breathing. So this type of breathing, if you were in class last time, the focus will be in inhaling and exhaling, but when we inhale, we're going to try to get all the oxygen we can through our nose down to our chest and to our stomach. With that being said, we have to make space, right, in our chest and our stomach, so we have to expand and open up our chest and then expand our stomach as we inhale, okay? And as we exhale, what we're gonna try to do is we're gonna try to push from our stomach using our abdominal muscles along with our diaphragm. Gonna push the air up to the chest and out to our mouth, okay? People either pucker their lips or kind of like you're blowing a candle when you're exhaling. And some people, they just open their mouths kind of like this when they exhale. When you pucker your lips and forcefully exhale, you're actually using more of your diaphragm pushing the air out along with your abdominal muscles. So it's a little bit more tougher. The main purpose is when we exhale, you see I'm kind of going down. We're relaxing our body, right? So now that I'm standing, we have to make sure, as you can see my back right here, we have to make sure our back is actually straight. And when we inhale, this is how it's gonna look like. Inhale, and exhale. All right. You see how I'm like kind of going like that? So what's happening is when I'm pushing, see how I'm pushing my stomach right here? It kind of gives me that posture, but I'm more relaxed, right, when I'm doing that. So we're gonna make sure you're relaxed when you're exhaling. So that's our relaxing area. So you can do that in the beginning just to kind of prime your body and your lungs. With the exercise, you can do at least 5 reps of just inhaling and then exhaling. So you gotta remember when you're inhaling and exhaling, it needs to be time, or there needs to be a gap where you're just holding your inhale before you exhale. With that, the reason why is because if you keep inhaling and exhaling you're gonna force yourself to hyperventilate. You know, the oxygen is not enough adequate oxygen is gonna go to your brain, and you just keep pushing out air out of your system, right? And you're gonna feel lightheaded. So if you start feeling lightheaded, there's probably one cause. It's because you're not doing it. You're not giving your body that time to kind of do a proper gas exchange, right? So make sure that you do that. Be cognizant of what you feel, and have fun, but be safe, okay? So now that we are done with diaphragmatic breathing, we gotta understand the basis of our forms, which is the sitting and the stance form, okay? We're gonna start with the sitting because most of our exercises the opening exercises are gonna be on a chair or seated, okay? With that said, make sure when you have a chair, when you're gonna use a chair, the chair needs to be stable, so 4-pointed chair and stable base of support. Make sure that it doesn't slip, and we should be good to go after that. And I also wanna show you the way we are gonna sit on the chair. So when we're sitting on a chair, on the side view right here, let's make sure that we're not leaning back on the chair. That's a no-no. What we're gonna do is we're gonna be a little bit halfway sitting on the chair. We need to make sure that our body or our posture is straight when we're sitting on the chair. And what we can do to assure that we have the proper posture as well is make sure that I'm gonna zoom in in a second, but you're gonna make sure that your feet, they're a little bit back behind your knees, okay? So feet a little bit behind your knees, and this is our sitting posture. So now that we are on a seated posture, the next thing that we're gonna do is our hip mobility. With that includes a lot of weight shifting, okay? We're gonna challenge our core and our sitting balance as well. With this beginning exercise, a lot will rely on our control of our core and also our buttocks, right? So, as we all know, inhaling is also a big, like I said, that's the main core of this practice. And a rule of thumb is that when we're doing movements that's moving away from the center, like so, we're shifting our weight and going away from the center, we're inhaling. So make a note of that. When we're getting away from the center of our body, of stability, we are inhaling. And as we return back to the middle, which is our neutral area or our neutral space, that's when we exhale to relax our body, right? So on the challenging times that we're moving, we're gonna inhale, okay? So with this weight shifting, what we're gonna try to do with our core is we're gonna try to lean forward, but when we're leaning forward, we gotta make sure that we're cognizant that our back is straight, okay? So when we're leaning forward, we're inhaling, and then exhale as we go back, okay? So we're circling around. So how do we feel that we're doing work when we're circling around? So when we're circling around, when we shift our weight, we have to make sure that basically your body or your buttocks, whichever side you're leaning, that's gonna carry all the weight, right? But with that being said, we still have to have a straight back. And how can you maintain your straight back? By holding your stomach. By just crunching in, right? Straight body, holding your stomach. You inhale. And then exhale. Right? So you're challenging. What you can do is you can do all the planes if you want before you go in a circle. Right? So you can do inhale forward, and then inhale, exhale as you go backwards. Inhale as you go diagonally, okay? And then exhale as you go back. All right? And then inhale, go into this side. And then exhale as you go to the center, okay? And then inhale, going back. And then exhale as you go back to the center, okay? As you can see, I'm not resting. I'm gonna do that in a side view position this time around. I'll do it at each angle, okay? Inhale going forward. And then exhale as you go back. Inhale going diagonally. And then exhale as you go back. Make sure your head is still straight, looking straight, right? So even though I'm going this way, my head is still straight, right? In that sense, your body is kind of like figuring out how to stay in the center as well. So you're challenging your core, your hips, especially your your muscles right here on your thighs, your inner thighs, are working. As you can see, you're gonna feel that as you go like this, and then go back to your center, and then as you go out like this, go back to the center, and then you go back to the center. If you want to challenge yourself, you're gonna feel your other buttocks lifting, right? So you can lift your other buttocks and put all the weight onto the other side that you're leaning in to kind of give you a little bit more challenge onto your core. And then make sure that you do that on both sides, left and right. And as we get more adept to that, you can definitely try doing the circle motion, right? So as we go forward in, exhale. So you have that gap of breathing out after breathing in, right? So as you go back to the center, you can see halfway through, you can exhale already. Your hip is shifting, right? Your pelvic region is shifting as you do that. As you go forward, it's going outwards, right? Like that. The top of your hip is going forward like that. And then you're kind of exercising that movement. And you're gonna feel it on your inner thigh, especially if you're not used to it. But it's a good way to practice your weight shifting, okay? So you can do this 5 on each side if you would like. You feel that little burn, and it works on your core. It's really good for you. So I always make sure that this is part of our beginning exercises. Now that we've done our hip shifts, it's nice to actually learn some of the moves, right? And so the first thing that we're gonna do is our ball movements, our opening movements. The first movement is called opening the ball. So the way it goes is we go to our ball form, right? So our ball form is basically like we're holding a ball in the center of our body, all right? And this ball represents our energy or our chi, right? So what we're gonna do is as we inhale, we're gonna expand the ball. And as we exhale, we're gonna put the ball back to the center, right? So this is our neutral form, which is in the center. So let's go ahead and do this. I usually try to tell my students to do 3 reps of this one. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Just play along with it, and if you feel like you can soften it and put your own flair, just make sure that you're flowing and feel free when you're doing your movements, right? So I just did it in one side, but you can definitely, what you need to do is you need to switch as you go to the middle, so that you can do both sides going up, both sides going down as well, okay? So let's do that this time around. So let's go inhale, and then exhale. Switch, inhale, and then exhale. There you go. All right. And after we do the vertical expanding the ball, we're gonna do the horizontal, right? So we're gonna do this 3 times. Same concept. As we inhale, we're gonna expand. And as we exhale, we're gonna relax and go back to the middle, right? So our hand was like this, right? Usually a rule of thumb is right is on the top, okay? In the beginning. Right is on the top, rule of thumb, okay? But now that we're gonna switch back, all right? So what's gonna happen is that when we expand, it'd be nice if we take this opportunity to kind of stretch our back as well, right? So as you can tell over here, all right, let's pretend I'm sitting down, but all right, I'm stretching my back and then going back to the middle, okay? So as we do this, all right, we're gonna do it 3 times again, okay? A reason why it's 3, I figured it out now, is because let's say the right is on top, right? So we're gonna inhale, then exhale, then inhale, and then exhale. Then we go back to our original form after we do that, okay? So that's the reason why it's a rule of 3 reps. But with this one, we're gonna inhale, and then exhale. Make sure your core is tight with your body straight while you're sitting down. Inhale, and then we're gonna exhale. Last one, inhale, and then exhale. All right, so that's expanding the ball horizontally. So after we expand the ball horizontally, the next form is going to be the side swings, okay? With the side swings, it's a little bit fun, or it's a little bit more complex, especially when switching the hands. So always focus on trying to move as softly as you can. This is just for you to enjoy the movement, actually. So the way it works is, once we do the expanding horizontally, we go back to our ball, right? Which is our neutral pose, and get used to this because this is going to be a basis of a lot of our sequencing, right? So with the ball, I usually tell my students that the best way to kind of realize how to, or understand how your movement would be, is that the bottom hand is usually going to push, right? So it's kind of pushing, you're pushing the ball, and then this hand right here, which is your top hand, is still holding the ball. So you're pushing the ball, right? And then as you go down, you're scooping the ball, and then this hand goes to the top. All right. You see how it flipped? Now we're gonna do it on the other side, because your top hand just flipped to the bottom. So, like I said, with this form, what you're gonna do is you're gonna push with the bottom, right? So push the ball, right? Some people, they like to push up. Some people, they just like to push neutral. Doesn't matter, it's up to you, as long as you're doing the motion of going out to the side, right? So let's do that one more time, and you can follow the way I move, okay? So the way it goes is this way. When you do the ball to neutral, you're gonna push with the bottom, right? So push, and soft, like you're caressing the air, or it's like you're pushing a ball up, right? And once you get to the apex, you see my hand kind of like hold the ball below, and then center, okay? All right, and with that being said, when we go out, okay, let's go back to neutral. When we go out to push, that's when we inhale. And then as we go back, we exhale. And you see how there's like a little bounce, right? It's up to you how you do the movements, but as you get your flow, you can feel the energy or the movement of how you're doing, holding the ball or holding your energy, right? Your life energy, okay? So as we do that, it goes like this. We push from the bottom, inhale, exhale, neutral, and then now we're gonna inhale, exhale. And as we all learned earlier, is our weight shifting, right? So with our weight shifting, we can challenge more of the muscles that we have, especially our core. So how do we incorporate that with this movement? So since we're going side to side, it's a little bit more easier to understand where to lean, right? It gives us that chance to know where to lean. So as I push, you can see it right here. As I go back to neutral with my hand on top, hand on the bottom, left hand. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna inhale, and then exhale, right? So it's a little bit hard by just moving this way. So what I found too is that when you lift your leg, your opposing leg, where you're not leaning, it gives you a little bit more leverage to kind of balance with your stomach, right? So you can definitely add that. It's a little bit more advanced, but I encourage everyone to do that. as part of this opening exercise, okay? So let's go ahead and do this again. One more time. We are going to the ball neutral, and I'm gonna do this 3 times, usually 3 to 4 times. It's up to you. Rule of thumb is 3, especially when you're doing the sequence all together, okay? So we're gonna go ahead and inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. All right, that's how we do it. And let's move on to the last sitting exercise. Okay, so for the last exercise, it's an arm swing but going diagonally. And this movement, going forward like this, is actually one of the forms that we're going to be using in the future. It's called part the horse's mane. And as of right now, I just want you to focus on the movement and the breathing in and out. This is going to translate for our standing motion as well, okay? So the way this works is as we go on to our ball position or neutral position, our bottom is going to do the leading, right? So earlier what we did was our bottom was pushing, our bottom is going to lead. So the way it works is going to be like this. We're going to lead diagonally to where that arm is positioned. So with this arm is my left arm, right? So I got the ball. What's going to happen is I'm going to serve diagonally. And you see how my hand just naturally flows that way, right? It's like you're wiping the top of the ball and then you're serving someone, right? Or you're giving someone something. There you go. So serve. And what's going to happen is the bottom part that you serve, since you're already serving it, you're going to cover up the cup or palm the ball back to the middle. Whatever metaphor works for you. So sometimes you serve and then now you're going to cover up the bowl or something like that, or a soup bowl or something. Whatever works for you. But you see how it transitioned, right? So my hand automatically moved so that the other side that was on top is going to be on the bottom. And now I can continuously do it. So I'm going to slow it down a little bit. So see how my hands kind of move. So the top hand is kind of like, oh, I'm pushing something aside, right? Pushing something aside. But with this hand, I'm giving somebody someone. I mean, someone something, right? So pushing aside with the top and then serving someone. And then go ahead and back to neutral, right? So palm, you see how, there you go, one fluid movement. Definitely some people are gonna have a hard time with the coordination, but that's part of it, right? And that's why Tai Chi is important, because you're working on your coordination and your connection with the left and right hemisphere of your brain, trying to communicate. So that's the good challenge. So let's do that now with 3 rep succession, okay? So 1, 2, 2, sorry, and 3. Okay, so let's try doing that with our inhales. So if you remember, when we move away from the center, that's when we inhale, okay? So we inhale as we go serve someone, and then we exhale as we go back in the middle. And you're gonna see that it feels really good doing that instead of doing the opposite of breathing, right? So inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. As you can already see, I'm already leaning. So I'm already challenging my core and my sitting balance. Let's try using it with our leg up. So what's gonna happen is, whichever side same concept, whichever side you're leaning to, the opposite side that you're not leaning to, you're gonna raise your leg, okay? So let's try doing that. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna serve again. Let's go serve. It's a little bit tough, but you know what? That's good. You know, the tougher you are, the better you're going to be, okay? The tougher you are in yourself. So that's the last form. Now let me show you how it looks like in sex session, okay? That is the 4-form exercise with the last inhale, and we're gonna raise our hands, okay? So inhale, and then exhale. Right, and that is the sequence for the opening exercise. The next challenging thing before we do our standing exercise is our sit to stands. Our sit to stands are gonna compose of our first breathing in and a mini squat, a squat, and fully standing. So we're gonna use the chair. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do this sideways so that you can see a better visualization. So with this video, you can see me do our inhale, exhale. But what's gonna happen is we're gonna have our hands relaxed, and we're gonna lean forward with our hands up as we inhale and exhale. It's like we're pushing our energy down, right? And then what's gonna happen is on the second one, we're gonna try to do a mini squat. So this is how it's gonna look like, okay? So how it's gonna look like is we're gonna inhale and then exhale. You see that squat just a little bit off of the chair, not that much, not that quite, right? So let's do that again, see if you can see it a little better. So we're gonna go ahead and inhale and then exhale. If you feel like that's a little too close for comfort, and you feel like you're gonna fall, then just move in a little bit, right? So there you go. That's as long as you're not leaning, okay? And then let's do that one more time. Inhale, exhale. And then we're gonna go inhale, exhale. And then we're gonna go a little bit higher, okay? So inhale, exhale. And after that, we are gonna stand up. So we're gonna go inhale, and then exhale. All right. That practice is called the sit to stand, and that is really important because you're working on your hamstrings and your core and your quads, right? So all these muscles are necessary for us to be able to stand, and are usually neglected when we're sedentary as well. So practice that. Usually what I try to do is do 5 reps of that, at least 5 reps. It's gonna be challenging because you're gonna feel it, right? Especially in your lower abdominals, your butt. One way to secure that, you know, you're able to do that squat is squeezing your buttocks, right? Your glutes, as they call. so that you have a better control of your lower body as well, okay? So try to do that, 5 reps. It's hard, but it's good for you. All right, so this is the beginning. Now that we're standing, one of our opening movements, it's a little bit difficult, but we're gonna do a little bit of pelvic tilts. So how does that look like? So, So if you put your hand towards your side right here, all right, so your inner thigh, and you feel like that pointy bone right here, and then you kind of just hold your hips on that area, and then your thumb, you can feel a little bit of, when you squeeze your butt, you feel that divot, right? So what's gonna happen is, that's how we kind of move our butt when it comes to sitting down, where what's gonna happen is that the front of our pelvis, or pelvic bone, goes forward, right? And then when we stand up, it actually retracts backward like this. You see squeezing my butt, right? All right, retracting like that, and the bottom part goes forward, right? So with that being said, it's a little bit hard to kind of imagine that. When I started doing this, I had a hard time visualizing it, even though I'm touching it left and, squeezing my butt and all that. One form in TJQMBB, moving for better balance, is when we're standing with our opening form, there's kind of like a little bit of catching yourself, especially with a double inhale. As we all know, with the handouts I gave out in class, our standing stance, usually we're close together, a little bit squared off, shoulder width apart with our foot a little bit, our big toes pointing a little bit outwards, right? Just a little bit. And we gotta make sure that our knees are a little bit bent, right? So you can see, likewise, like so. All right, so it's a little bit bent. And with this opening position, what's gonna happen is we're gonna do a double inhale. So like what we were doing it sitting down, we're moving forward up like that, and then standing back up. So, but since our knees are bent, we're kind of forcing our pelvis to kind of move in a certain way where I was telling you about earlier. So what's gonna happen is, when we do our double inhale, we're gonna strain our legs, which forces our hip to our pelvis to straighten or move, do that movement of our pelvis, right? So what we're gonna do is, it looks like this. So we're gonna lean forward a little bit as we inhale. So inhale, inhale. So I kind of lost my balance, right? But with that movement, it's challenging our balance a little bit, because when we lean forward, I would love for you to shift your weight on your foot towards the ball of your feet, right? So you have your knees right here, soften, and then when you go up, 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 you make sure you do the inhale and then double inhale before you go to the 90 degrees, straighten and squeeze your glutes, your butt. Squeeze your butt, right? So you were leaning forward, but you're putting your weight, you see my foot right there, right? See, I'm shifting my weight, I'm like tippy-toeing, and then there you go, squeezing my butt and my calves, and I'm up here, and then I'm exhaling as I go down. But you see how my legs are a little bit straighter, probably a little bit harder to see, but my legs are straighter, and then you go back to neutral, right? And then you go back doing that again, and you do inhale, inhale. Then you go back down to center, and then neutral. We go again, and inhale, inhale, right? And usually what I try to do is I go inhale, inhale. I go a little bit faster. And that kind of challenges our balance, our weight shifting, challenges our ankles, our toes, getting that feedback of balance and stability, but being able to react and stay centered. So it's really important. It's one of our opening forms. So you're just gonna do that one more time. Inhale, inhale, exhale. There you go. And then we're gonna go to the ball pose. All right, thank you so much for being a part of this class. This video is a little bit longer because of all the basic things that we need to learn, but the future videos will be more short, succinct, and direct to the point, where we're gonna focus more on the movements, okay, or the forms. So now that we've learned the basics, make sure you practice, as this will be part of all our class. We're gonna do the seated practice, the sit to stand, and the pelvic tilt exercises. After that, we're gonna focus on the form. We're gonna go a little bit faster onto the forms in the next few weeks, but it will be fun, and there's gonna be more videos. It's gonna be uploaded at a more better respectable time before our next class, so that you have ample enough time to practice the forms. And once again, thank you so much, and I'll see you in class. Bye.